You wake up at 3 in the morning, and for a few seconds you can't remember if you locked the front door. You let it go. But lately it's more than the door. It's the word that won't come. The name of the actor you've known for 40 years, the reason you walked into the kitchen, and someone told you, don't worry, that's just age. Here's what almost no one explains. While you sleep, your brain runs a cleaning crew that physically washes out the very sticky proteins behind Alzheimer's, amyloid, and tau. When you lose deep sleep, that crew clocks out, the trash piles up, and the research now shows that the less deep sleep you get in your 50s and 60s, the more of that plaque your brain tends to carry years later. Nobody mentions this in a 12-minute checkup because there's no prescription pad for it, and the system doesn't profit when you fix the problem for free in your own bed. Stay with me, because the study at number 3 changed how I think about every night of sleep, and the simple plan at the end you can start tonight. I'm Dr. Victor Cole. If you want videos that explain the why behind your brain instead of just handing you another pill, hit subscribe and like It genuinely helps this reach more seniors who were told it's just age. And in the comments, tell me how old you are and the last word or name you blanked on this week. I read them. Now let's get to it. Here's the biology this whole video hinges on, in plain English. Your brain is the busiest organ you own, and like any hardworking machine, it produces waste, metabolic garbage, including 2 proteins you've heard of, amyloid beta and tau. In a healthy brain, these get flushed out, but your brain doesn't have the same drainage system as the rest of your body. Instead, it has its own overnight cleanup crew, and scientists gave it a name, the glymphatic system. Spell it with me, G-L-Y-M-P-H-A-T-I-C. Think of it like a dishwasher for your brain. During deep sleep, your brain cells actually shrink a little, opening up channels, and cerebrospinal fluid, the clear fluid that bathes your brain, gets pumped through that space in slow, powerful waves, rinsing the waste out. This was named and characterized by Maiken Nedergaard's lab at the University of Rochester, published in 2012. And here's the catch that matters for everyone watching. This dishwasher mostly runs during deep, slow-wave sleep. Not light sleep, not lying in bed scrolling, deep sleep. So the question becomes, what happens to the trash when the dishwasher stops running? Let me walk you through it, one piece at a time. Number 1. The overnight rinse cycle is real, and it's powerful. In a landmark study in the journal Science in 2013, researchers led by Z found that during sleep, the space between brain cells expanded by about 60%, and that opening sharply increased the clearance of amyloid beta compared to being awake. Now I want to be honest with you the way I'd want my own doctor to be honest with me. That 60% figure comes from a mouse study, an animal model, so we hold it carefully. But it gave us the mechanism. Sleep literally opens the channels that wash your brain. And here's where it stops being just mice. In 2019, again in Science, Fultz and colleagues used brain imaging on sleeping humans and directly watched large pulses of cerebrospinal fluid surge into the brain, locked in rhythm with the slow waves of deep sleep. They photographed the dishwasher running in a living human being. So the takeaway for tonight is simple. Deep sleep isn't rest, it's maintenance, which raises an uncomfortable question. What if you're not getting much of it anymore? Number 2, deep sleep quietly fades starting in midlife, and most people never notice. Here's what almost no one explains in a 12-minute visit. The research from sleep scientists like Mander and Walker shows that slow-wave sleep, the deep stage, begins declining measurably in midlife, well before you feel old. You might still be in bed 8 hours. You might even think you slept fine. But the deep restorative stage where the cleanup happens has been shrinking for years. This is why so many people in their 60s feel foggy despite sleeping all night. The hours are there, the depth isn't. And because nobody hands you a report card on your slow-wave sleep, you don't know it's slipping. So if you've been blaming your memory on age, consider that the real culprit might be the quality of your sleep, not the number of your years. Hold on to that, because the next study is the one that genuinely changed how I think. Number 3, watch this one. Does lost deep sleep actually predict plaque buildup, or do they just happen to occur together? In a 2018 study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, backed by the NIH, Shakri Kojori and colleagues took healthy adults and deprived them of sleep for a single night, just one. Then they scanned their brains with PET imaging. After that one night, amyloid beta had measurably risen in the hippocampus and the thalamus, the hippocampus being the seedbed where new memories form. One night. Then came the longer view. Weiner and colleagues in work funded by the National Institute on Aging around 2019 and 2020 found that people with reduced slow-wave sleep carried a greater burden of amyloid and tau, and that declining deep sleep tracked with later amyloid accumulation. And Lucy's team, in 2019, found lower deep sleep brain activity correlated with tau pathology. Read that again. The deep sleep you lose today appears to forecast the plaque you carry tomorrow. Now, I have to be precise because precision is respect. These are associations, not proof that poor sleep single-handedly causes Alzheimer's. But the pattern is consistent, it's human, and it points one direction, which is actually good news because sleep is something you can work on. Quick pause. If this is landing, tap that like button. It honestly helps this video reach more people who've been lying awake at night, worried, with no one explaining what's actually happening. Okay, let's keep building. Number 4, the nightcap that's quietly robbing your cleanup crew. A lot of folks your age have a glass of wine or a finger of whiskey to fall asleep and it works. You do drift off faster. But here's the betrayal. Alcohol suppresses both slow-wave sleep and REM sleep, so the very drink you're using to sleep is shutting down the deep stage where your brain washes itself. You're trading the appearance of sleep for the substance of it. The dishwasher fills with water but never runs the cycle. I'm not here to police your life. I'm here to make sure you know the cost. If you want deeper sleep, the single easiest experiment is to move that drink to dinner, hours before bed, or skip it on weeknights and watch how you feel. Talk to your doctor about your own situation, especially if you drink daily. But don't let a nightcap be the reason your cleanup crew never clocks in. And speaking of things sold to help you sleep that may do the opposite, the next one is sitting in millions of medicine cabinets. Number 5, the over-the-counter PM pills that may carry a hidden cost. Walk down any pharmacy aisle and you'll see nighttime aids, the PM versions of painkillers, the sleep tablets. Most of them work because they contain diphenhydramine, the same ingredient in Benadryl, an anticholinergic. Here's the brain problem. Acetylcholine, spell it acetylcholine, is your brain's memory messenger, the chemical your hippocampus leans on to form new memories. Anticholinergic means it blocks that messenger, so you're sedating yourself by muffling the exact system you need for memory. This is why the American Geriatric Society's Beers criteria recommends older adults avoid these drugs. And it gets more serious. A 2015 study by Gray and JAMA Internal Medicine found that higher cumulative use of strong anticholinergic medications was associated with a higher risk of dementia. Please hear me on the safety here. Do not stop any prescription on your own, because some medications are dangerous to quit abruptly. But for an over-the-counter sleep aid you bought yourself, this is exactly the conversation to bring to your doctor or pharmacist. Is what I'm taking anticholinergic, and is there something safer? If you ignore this one, you may be paying for worse memory at the same counter where you bought the pills. Number 6, prescription sleeping pills don't rebuild the sleep you're missing. Maybe you've been prescribed a benzodiazepine or a Z drug like Zolpidem. You might know it as Ambien. They can knock you out. But here's the part that rarely gets said out loud. These drugs do not restore your natural deep sleep architecture. They sedate you without rebuilding the slow wave stage that runs the cleanup. And in seniors, they carry real risks: falls in the night, fractures, next day grogginess, and cognitive fog. Again, and this is non-negotiable, never stop or change one of these on your own, because abrupt withdrawal from some of them is genuinely dangerous. This is a talk to your doctor about tapering and alternatives item, not a quit tonight item. Because there is a first-line treatment that isn't a drug at all, and almost no one offers it first. That's number 7. Number 7, the treatment that beats a pill, and most doctors don't mention it. For chronic insomnia, the first-line treatment recommended by the American College of Physicians back in 2016 and by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine is not a medication. It's called CBTIE, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia. It's a short, structured program that retrains your brain and body to sleep naturally, fixing your sleep schedule, your relationship with the bed, the racing thoughts at midnight, no grogginess, no fall risk, no blocked acetylcholine, and it works on the actual architecture of your sleep, which means it can help restore the deep stage your cleanup crew depends on. The reason you've probably never been offered it is simple economics. It takes more than a 12-minute visit, and there's no pill to hand across the desk, so bring it up yourself. The exact words, "Can you refer me for CBTI before we try a sleeping pill?" That one question could change your nights. Number 8. The strongest one, save it. The breathing problem that wrecks deep sleep every single night. Millions of older adults have undiagnosed sleep apnea. They stop breathing dozens of times an hour without knowing it. Every time it happens, the brain yanks itself out of deep sleep to restart breathing. So you can be in bed 9 hours and get almost no slow-wave sleep. The dishwasher gets switched off again and again all night long. The signs: loud snoring, gasping, waking unrefreshed, a partner who says you stop breathing. The fix is real and it's treatable, often with a CPAP machine that keeps your airway open so your brain can finally drop into deep sleep and run its cleanup. If any of this sounds like you, ask your doctor about a sleep study. This may be the single biggest deep sleep thief on the entire list, and one of the most fixable. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Eleanor, 68. She came in convinced she was watching the first signs of Alzheimer's, losing words, foggy by noon, certain it was just age catching up. But she slept 8 hours a night, so sleep wasn't on her radar. When we actually looked, 2 things turned up: a nightly glass of wine she swore helped her sleep, and a snore her husband had been complaining about for years. A sleep study confirmed apnea. She moved the wine to dinner and started CPAP. I want to be careful here. This is a composite, not a miracle, and there's no cure being promised. But over a few months, the fog lifted, the words came easier, and she felt like herself again. She didn't outrun her age. She removed what was standing in the way and let her brain do the cleaning it was always built to do. Do you see the single thread running through all of this? Every item is really about one thing: protecting your brain's overnight rinse cycle. The nightcap, the PM pills, the sleeping pills, the untreated apnea, each one quietly steals your slow-wave sleep. And slow-wave sleep is when the glymphatic system pumps fluid through your brain to flush the amyloid and tau out of the neighborhood of your hippocampus. Deepen your sleep, and you don't just feel sharper, you give your brain the hours it needs to clean itself. So here's your plan, and you can start tonight. First, set a consistent sleep and wake time, even on weekends. And know that weekend catch-up sleep does not fully undo chronic deep sleep loss, so the daily rhythm matters more than the marathon. Second, get bright daylight in your eyes in the morning, move your body during the day, and keep your bedroom cool and dark. Third, move alcohol away from bedtime and check every PM product with your pharmacist for anticholinergics. Fourth, if you snore or wake unrefreshed, ask your doctor for a sleep study. And fifth, if insomnia is chronic, ask for CBTI before a pill, and aim for the 7 to 9 hours the CDC and the National Institute on Aging recommend for adults over 60. Now, the safety line I will always give you: any new or worsening memory change deserves a real medical evaluation, not panic, and never stop or change a prescription on your own. And if you ever see sudden confusion, a drooping face, slurred speech, or one-sided weakness, that's the FAST warning of a stroke. Call emergency services right now. There's one more place your brain hides its earliest warning signs, years before memory slips, and it's not in your head at all. I'll show you in the next one. I'm Dr. Victor Cole. Stay sharp, and I'll see you there.